The auction hall on Veldrotha station smelled like recycled air, expensive perfume, and fear. Ben Harlow noticed the fear first. He had a talent for it. 17 years of working salvage contracts in the outer systems had given him a nose for danger the way some people developed a nose for weather. And right now, every non-human in the room was leaning slightly away from the main stage, the way tall grass leans away from a fire that hasn't quite reached it yet. He followed their eyes. The girl on the stage was chained, 3 sets of restraints, military-grade Verithi alloy, each one rated for 800 kilograms of sustained force. Her wrists were raw beneath the cuffs. Her hair was matted. She was wearing the remnants of what had once been ceremonial armor, now cracked and scorched, the sigils barely visible beneath the damage. She was also, despite everything, standing perfectly straight, back rigid, chin level, eyes scanning the room with cold, methodical precision, cataloging exits, Ben realized, counting guards, measuring distances. She was not looking for help. She was looking for a way out. The auctioneer, a heavy-set Galluan with 3 chins and a practiced smile, spread his hands with theatrical warmth. Lot 47, he announced. A genuine Valkyrie Berserker-class warrior, captured intact. In excellent combat condition, as I'm sure you'll agree. He gestured grandly at the girl. She has taken down 4 handlers since acquisition, broken 2 standard-issue restraint systems, and has been classified at Combat Tier 7 by independent assessors. He paused for effect. Bidding opens at 200,000 credits. Silence. Not the polite pause of wealthy buyers considering their options. The absolute, wall-to-wall silence of an entire room deciding that this particular purchase was someone else's problem. Ben glanced left. A Theresi merchant, the kind who usually bought combat assets without blinking, was examining his own fingernails with sudden intense interest. A consortium buyer from the outer rings had developed a fascination with the floor tiles. Even the representatives from the Galluan Security Directorate, who had presumably shown up specifically for lots like this, were consulting their data slates and finding reasons not to make eye contact with the stage. The girl's gaze swept the room, paused, briefly, fractionally, on Ben. He looked back at her. Her eyes were gray, the particular gray of deep ocean water, still on the surface, violent underneath. She held his gaze for exactly 3 seconds, then looked away, back to counting exits. The auctioneer cleared his throat. 200,000. Do I have an opening bid? Nothing. 150,000. Then, to start. Ben raised his hand. The room turned to look at him with the unified horror of a species encountering something it had not planned for. 150,000, Ben said. From the human in the back. The auctioneer stared at him. Several nearby buyers shuffled fractionally away from Ben, as though whatever judgment had led him to raise his hand might be contagious. You. The auctioneer recovered his professional smoothness with visible effort. You understand the assets classification? Tier 7 combat rating? For prior handlers incapacitated. I heard you the first time, Ben said. She broke restraints rated for 800 kilos, yes. Ben tilted his head. Are you trying to talk me out of a sale? Another silence, briefer this time. 150,000, the auctioneer said weakly. Going once. Going twice. He waited. No one in the room showed any inclination whatsoever to outbid a human for a Tier 7 Berserker. Sold. They brought her to the transfer dock in a 6-guard escort, which Ben thought was excessive and the guards clearly thought was barely adequate. Her name, according to the acquisition documents, was Lily Valekar 7th Born, a designation that meant, in Valkyrie culture, the 7th daughter of a ruling house's primary line. Ben had done the reading on the 14-minute transit from the auction floor. He had also read the incident reports from her capture, her transport, and her 3 weeks in holding. The picture that emerged was not of a mindless weapon. It was of someone who had been fighting, continuously and intelligently, since the moment she was taken. The guards transferred her restraint control to Ben's handheld and stepped back with the speed of people who had somewhere else to be. All 6 of them. Immediately, Ben and Lily stood alone in the transfer dock. She looked at him. That same steady, measuring gaze. You're going to attempt to use me as a combat asset, she said. Her standard was flawless, clipped, precise, no accent at all. I will kill you before I allow it. I'm not going to use you as a combat asset, Ben said. She waited. When he didn't continue, she said. Elaborate. Ben pulled out the restraint control and held it up so she could see it clearly. Then he set it down on the deck between them. Her eyes tracked him, back to the control. Vale Car's seventh born, Ben said carefully, was sold at auction because her convoy was ambushed in the Korath Passage 6 weeks ago. Escort destroyed, diplomatic package seized. Her taken alive because someone figured a living Berserker-class royal was worth more than a dead one. He paused. I've been running cargo through the Korath Passage for 11 years. I know who operates there. I know where they operate from. Another pause. I also know that the Valkyrie ruling house has been looking for their seventh daughter for 6 weeks, and that the finder's fee is currently at 4 million credits. Lily's expression did not change, but something in her eyes did, a slight recalibration, like a scope adjusting for new distance. You bought me, she said slowly, to return me. I bought you because no one else was going to, and the alternative was watching you either rot in that holding facility or get sold to someone who actually wanted a weapon. Ben shrugged. The finder's fee is a bonus. Why does the alternative matter to you? He thought about it honestly, the way he always tried to think about honest questions. Because you were standing there counting exits, he said. You weren't scared. You weren't broken. You were just working the problem. Alone. He picked up the restraint control and held it out to her, handle first. I don't like watching people work a problem alone when I can help. She looked at the control in his hand for a long moment. Then she took it. It took Ben 11 days to navigate back through the Korath Passage, locate the ambush crew's staging point, and arrange, through a series of communications he declined to explain in detail, for Lily's position to be transmitted to the Valkyrie recovery fleet that had been searching for 6 weeks. Lily spent those 11 days doing 3 things: repairing her armor, learning the ship's systems with the focused intensity of someone who needed to understand every environment she occupied, and, on the 4th day, beginning to talk to him. Not much, at first. Operational questions. Ship capacity. Fuel range. Route logic. By day 7, she was asking different questions. You are considered unusual among your species? She asked on the 7th evening, while Ben was running maintenance checks on the port engine coupling. For buying a Tier 7 Berserker at auction? Probably. For the other part, the returning, Ben set down his wrench. Humans are all unusual in different ways. This is just my way. The beings in that room were afraid of me. Yes. You were not. He considered denying it, then decided honesty had worked fine so far. I was a little afraid of you, but I was more curious. Something shifted in her expression, not quite a smile, but the architecture of one. The suggestion of where a smile might eventually go. Valkyrie Berserkers have served under 700 years of recorded commanders, she said. None of them were curious. None of them were human, Ben said. The recovery fleet intercepted them at the edge of Valkyrie sovereign space. 6 warships, guns hot, hailing frequencies blazing. Ben broadcast on all channels. Cargo delivery. Handle with care. Lily, standing beside him at the bridge viewport, looked at him sideways. You are a strange species, she said. We've heard that. It is not an insult. I know. The fleet surrounded them, and Lily straightened. That same iron spine, that same level chin, and for just a moment, before the docking tubes connected, she looked sideways at Ben again. The finder's fee, she said. Yes. It is insufficient. She faced forward again. I will have it increased. Ben Harlow, salvager, third-class cargo runner, an accidental diplomat, said nothing. But he smiled at the viewport for a long time after that. Humanity had a reputation, out in the darker reaches of the galaxy, for picking up things that other species put down. Broken things. Dangerous things. Lost things that still had fight left in them. The galaxy called it recklessness. Humans called it Tuesday.